Over a year ago, I came back from studying abroad. I returned home with 2 cameras, a disposable camera, SD cards, and an idea. I wanted to compile everything into one video. You see, when I turned 20, I started wanting to document my life more seriously. And in my head, going abroad would be my best video yet because nothing could stop me. It was time to edit. SD cards, check. Water, check. Ming, check. I put the majority of everything into a single folder and fuck. I was immediately overwhelmed. I wanted whatever I was making to be perfect because of how meaningful my time abroad was. I felt like with every draft I wrote, every initial edit, I wasn't capturing the feeling correctly. Yet, I wasn't going to end the year without it. What's crazy is that an entire year has passed and my time abroad was still teaching me its most important lesson. What I create, and most importantly myself, cannot be perfect. And with that, here's the story of my time abroad.
So, in 3 days, I'm leaving to Italy. I don't know what to expect. My expectations are already pretty low. I don't want to go in with crazy expectations and then get it all ruined. This is it. These next 90-ish days, 80, well, technically 88 days, I guess, are gonna look like, I don't really know. You know, I have a lot in my head that I want to do while I'm there, but not everything always works out the way you want it to be. I think this is going to be a really impactful time of my life. It's going to make me grow a lot. I'm excited to see who I will be at the end of these 90 days.
I spent my first 2 weeks in Italy with my mom and sister visiting Rome and Venice. But there's not a lot of documentation in these 2 weeks. That's intentional because I want to be present for my first time in Italy with my family. There's an occasional video that I wish was landscape instead of portrait, and obviously loads of photos I was able to capture, but I wouldn't have it any other way. My favorite photo in these 2 weeks was taken in Venice. On the Grand Canal with the sun starting to set, I was able to capture a Polaroid of my mom. We eventually make our way to Florence and spend the remainder of our time together. Before I knew it, we said our goodbyes and I watched them go as I walked to my stay. And just like that, now I was alone in the city of Florence. Initially, I spent a lot of my time roaming the city and taking photos. The market in Santo Spirito, the cat on my roof, and photos from my photography class were my first real sessions when I was there. During all my photo walks, I was always playing music. I already got into Bob Dylan when I was out there. I must have listened to the entirety of Free Willy Bob Dylan at least 15 times. But besides photography and Bob Dylan, I did spend a lot of time with Sophia. Sophia and I knew each other before going abroad, and basically spent the entire summer anticipating our semester. We would often go to this cafe just to talk or work on our assignments. But one of those days, Sophia convinced me to go on a trip. I wanted to travel, I really did, but I was extremely hesitant at first. I look back now and I thank Sophia in my head for pushing me to go with her. It allowed me to open myself up to experiences that would later define my time abroad. And so, I'll be going on my first trip, and it wasn't somewhere nearby. I'd be going to Sweden. Sweden was one of my favorite countries to visit. We flew to Gothenburg and arrived in the morning. Honestly, our main priority when we got there was food, and we found this bagel shop that sold a salmon bagel called the Alex, which felt like a sign that this adventure was going to be impactful. There was a lot of beauty in Gothenburg, from its buildings to the people we met. It made me excited to experience more, and for our next city in Sweden, Stockholm. We almost missed our train because of me, but Stockholm was stunning. I remember this feeling of awe when we walked out the train station and made our way towards our hostel. We had the experience of seeing art, history, and the architecture of the city. One of the coolest things in the city was actually its subway systems. I think it's technically the largest art gallery in the world. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but each station was filled with all these colors and murals that really left a mark on you.
Stockholm, Sweden. It's a beautiful country. I love it so much. Stockholm is beautiful. Gothenburg is beautiful. That's my update. I'm enjoying life, loving life. Appreciate every moment. You never know when's your last. I don't know. Bar.
Eventually, we make our way back to Gothenburg. And for a couple hours, Sophia and I had split paths. I sat alone in a park on Slotskogen and recorded a message to my future kids.
To my future kids, travel this world. Explore everything you can. Meet new people. Experience new cultures. see new animals, look trees, flowers, everything you can. Experience it, soak it in, enjoy it. There's only so much time that we have here. Do as much as you can while you can. There's so much beauty to be found on this planet, and the more you explore, the smaller you'll make it. But even then, there's so much to experience and live, so much to see. I implore you to travel. Travel, travel, travel. Do as much as you can while you have no responsibility, while you're young. But even then, when you're old, do it. Keep doing it. One of the things I want you guys to experience in this world is the world. Is the beauty of this world. So once again, travel. So we can see things like this. Oh, so you can see things like this. In a couple hours, I will be taking my first ever solo trip. I'm packed, ready to go. I'm gonna get a couple hours of sleep, and then I have a train to the airport, and then I'm going to Copenhagen. I don't know what to expect. I'm kind of going in blind, but this is gonna be exciting. This is gonna be a good story, and I want to see what I can create from it. So I guess see you in a couple hours.
Copenhagen was interesting. For starters, the food in the city is amazing. There's a reason why Marcus from the Bear went there. I actually ate at two of the spots Marcus went to, the chicken from Poulet and a classic Copenhagen hot dog stand. I spent a lot of my time at and the surrounding area working on a project for my photography class. I really think out of all the cities I went to, I took my best photos in Copenhagen. I also posed with a dwarf. But then there came this really foggy morning. I was sitting on a bench at the King's Garden, filled with this feeling that I can't describe. I don't know if it was weather, but all the charisma I had in me vanished. That was one of the first times I felt that way during my time abroad, and it wouldn't be the last. After taking a bike ride around the city and exploring this random museum, it was time to say goodbye to Copenhagen. I got on a bus to my next destination, and it would lead me to one of my most euphoric stories of these 3 months. After taking an overnight bus from Copenhagen to Berlin, I arrived at the Berlin bus station with absolute zero plan on how to get to my hostel. It was cold, still dark, and I was feeling incredibly down and out. There were 3 options in my head: get a taxi, start walking, or rent out a Lime bike. I decided to rent out a Lime bike, and it was worth it. As I started to bike down,
Straße des 17. Juni.
the sun started to rise, and the city of Berlin was shining with it. I was seeing the monuments of the city wake up, and I never felt more alive. When I saw the TV tower in the distance, I was filled with ecstasy. I felt incredibly down in Copenhagen, but in Berlin, I was here. The rest of my time there was extremely brief, but I regained the feeling I lost in Copenhagen, for now. After coming back from Berlin, time started to get quicker. The feeling I had felt in Copenhagen had made its way back to me. Over time, I started to feel more alone. I would continue taking photos just to keep a sense of self, but often I would stay up late at night writing or thinking to myself. There was this one day I walked from Florence to a nearby city. It must have been like a 7-mile hike, but I needed to change the scenery. During that walk, I planned my next trip, and will ultimately be my last. I arrived to Spain after taking an overnight bus from Turin to Barcelona. There isn't much video of my time there. The same goes for my trip to Lisbon. I want to be present for my final 2 cities. In Barcelona, I visited the Picasso Museum, saw with my eyes La Sagrada Familia, had my first ever paella, and took photos of people I saw. When arriving in Lisbon though, I was immediately in love with the city, a feeling that I didn't find in Barcelona. I had gone to the National Tile Museum and took pictures of all the tiles I found beautiful. I walked the city streets and eventually found myself at this lookout, watching the sunset, spending the rest of my day there. My next day, I visited another museum and sat on steps looking at the city's landmark bridge. This will be the end of my travels, and it marks the beginning of my final days in Florence. And just like that, the inevitable end of my time in Florence was coming. December 14th was written on a sticky note, and that would be my departure day. There was a whirlwind of different emotions I felt every day until the last. The music had paused during my final photo walks, and I was thinking about the lessons I learned during my time here. I had decided to write down in my journal some of those lessons. Here's one of those entries. My time here was the most impactful culmination of events in my young adult life, and the catalyst for what was to happen when I'm home. It was scary to come into the unknown, but its lessons were so fruitful. Take the risk. It's worth the experience, and stop worrying about what will happen. You don't know until you try it. I'd often find myself sitting on the roof of my building just anticipating what I would do when I get back home. And before I knew it, I was on that plane heading to Miami, saying goodbye to the cradle of the Renaissance and the beautifully destructive time it has brought me. Yo, so it's been a year since my time abroad, and I've learned a lot throughout this year since then. I've grown as a person, obviously, throughout this entire year, and there's only 4 more days as of right now until this year ends, which is crazy to me. But yeah, there was a lot going on over there, and so yeah, it marks a year. I've been so much harder in my life, in a good way, not like a bad way. I've been putting more pressure on creating more videos and just creating in general, from the photo shoots to documenting my life, just to being a better person in general. I've been putting the time and energy and effort, and I think a lot of that does come from my time abroad, because I realized so much of what I wanted from that time. Like, I know what to expect from my future. I want to travel. I want to make beautiful videos, have really cool experiences. There's just so much I want, and my time abroad really taught me that. There's so many people that I met out there that impacted me as well. Shout out Ari for sure. That was my roommate in Florence, and definitely taught me a lot about maturity and just accepting things for what they are. Other people out there too. I don't really meet a lot of people and had the opportunity to become close to them, but those that I did and I got to share an experience with, I hope I impacted you in some way as well. It was really rough at that end there. Every day I was just counting the day down to wanting to leave. I would literally stay up until 4 a.m. watching How I Met Your Mother and just begging to leave, because I already felt so accomplished and I want to go back home and get things done. But it doesn't work like that. And there's some days now that I wish I didn't take that approach. But I can't change that. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do besides just accept that for what it was? And it was a beautiful experience at the end of the day. The entire lesson of loving myself more has been such a vital part of my year. It's probably one of my biggest goals of 2025, and I'm achieving it. It's not just a year thing, it's an entire life thing. But I've been doing it. I definitely have loved myself more. And I give myself more time on things. I'm not as hard on myself. I just appreciate a lot more the work and the grind and the effort. You know, not everything's gonna get done in one day. And a big thing I wrote down in my journal was everything happens in due time. And that's so real. It's such a real thing. But in retrospect, I wish I could have done a better job letting things happen over there. I forced my hand on a lot of things, I feel like, and I should have just chilled. But, you know, it was the first time. I'm not going to expect myself to be perfect. I'm never going to be perfect anyways. But nonetheless, it was still so beautiful. Still this tremendous time in my life that I don't think I'll ever forget. I look and think about my time abroad at least once a day, usually at nighttime. And I think about what I did and what I accomplished, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And it took me an entire year to make this video. It never left my mind. I wanted to create it so badly. It took so long and such a tremendous task, and I got it done through basically the last 2 weeks of the year, which were very stressful. But I'm glad to just have it out and to have it documented and to say I created this. It's probably what I feel the most for. The video that means the most to me as of right now, because there's just so much emotion and love and thought behind it that I needed to get out, and I needed to share my story. And to look back at this one day in a year or whenever, just to see that I could do it, I could create it. It's all possible. And then just to feel these emotions again. To look back on what I did over there, what I created, what I captured, what I felt, everything. It's all in this video. And I can't be more proud. I can't be more proud. So, the new year awaits, more experiences await. This whole game of life just awaits me, and I couldn't be more excited for what's to come. So yeah.